All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really fascinating and, frankly, super provocative theory. And just to set the stage, all the generated audio and visual content we'll be exploring today comes directly from the teachings of Life Yuan founder Sui Feng. Look, he takes one of our deepest, most ingrained cultural ambitions, this relentless drive to become what he calls a superior person, and he completely flips it on its head. It's an idea that drives entire societies, but as you'll see, Sui Feng argues we've got it all wrong. Let's get right into it. So there's this famous proverb, endure the bitterest hardships to become a person above others. If you grew up in certain cultures, this is basically the blueprint for ambition, right? It's what we tell kids. Work hard, suffer now, stand above the crowd later. But here is the massive paradigm shift Zuifeng introduces. He argues that this core value isn't a virtue at all. It's actually the instigation of the devil. Yeah. Instead of seeing this as the ultimate motivation, he identifies it as a total trap. Section: Defining the superior person. To really grasp this, we have to look at what striving for superiority actually looks like on an everyday level. Xu Feng defines it as a pure illusion of relativity. Think about it. Let's say you get a slightly larger, more spacious house, or maybe a brand new car compared to your immediate neighbors in a village. Boom! Instantly, you feel like a person above others. Maybe you get promoted to a minor local official. The point is, this feeling doesn't come from any sort of absolute universal standard of success. It's totally dependent on just looking around your familiar circle and realizing, hey, I have a little bit more than them. It's just a localized ego boost.
Section: The Endless Ladder.
But what's actually driving this localized ambition? Throughout history, whether we're talking about ancient scholars stressing over imperial exams, or people today just clawing their way up the modern civil service ladder, Xu Feng points out that it always boils down to 4 specific desires. You want to accumulate wealth. You want the authority to issue orders to other people. You want to show off your prestige. And, of course, you want to bring honor to your ancestors. Achieving these, that's society's benchmark for finally making it as a true superior person. But here's the catch, and it's a big one. This ladder literally never ends. Let's say you dominate your local village. Great. You step out into a wider arena, but then you hit a wall. You suddenly realize there are always skies beyond skies. There is always someone wealthier, someone with more power, someone higher up. So it creates this exhausting, never-ending cycle where absolutely everyone, except maybe the single person at the very peak of the pyramid, eventually feels like a subordinate again, like a person below others. It's a game you simply cannot win. Section: The Emperor's Tragic Fate. Now you might be thinking, okay, well, the solution is just to reach the absolute top. Well, the historical data Xu Feng cites on this is absolutely staggering. Just look at this number, 39 years. That was the average lifespan of a Chinese emperor. Think about that for a second. These were the ultimate superior people. They had absolute power, unimaginable wealth, the highest status on earth, and their lives were incredibly short. And honestly, the stats get even darker. Xu Feng highlights that 44% of these ultimate superior people met violent, unnatural ends, almost half. So they spend their entire lives fighting through a storm of blood just to reach the peak, only to end up ghosts under the blade. And even in death, their lavish graves were frequently robbed, sometimes leaving nothing behind. Statistically speaking, being at the absolute peak of superiority was basically a death sentence.
Section: The Fall of Officials.
If we bring this closer to the modern day, the toll for those striving for officialdom right now is just as shocking. Take a moment to look at the scale of ruin here based on rank. At the high provincial and ministerial levels, 392 individuals meeting tragic ends. Departmental level, 22,000. County level is over 170,000. And down at the township and sectional level, an incredible 616,000 officials facing disciplinary ruin. The sheer volume of people meeting these disastrous ends perfectly illustrates Xu Feng's point. This whole pursuit isn't a ladder to success, it's a massive funnel straight to disaster. So looking at the historical bloodshed and all that modern exhaustion we just went through, Xu Feng poses a really logical question. Once you rack your brains, lose sleep, and totally exhaust your life force trying to become this superior person, the final outcome is statistically tragic. So isn't a path that consistently ends this terribly proof of a devilish deception? Why on earth does society idolize a path that literally ruins so many of the people who walk it? The section: The Cosmic Consequence. But physical ruin and social downfall, that's just the surface level. Xu Feng then drops the floor out entirely, moving to the metaphysical. According to his teachings, the deepest, most substantial loss here is purely spiritual. Aggressively pursuing the superiority does two things. It firmly slams the door to heaven closed, and at the exact same time, it throws the gates of hell wide open. He attributes this to what he calls the law of zero sum of cosmic positive and negative energy. To explain this impartially, the theory basically dictates that the universe requires absolute balance. So when you aggressively accumulate status and power, when you push others down just to elevate yourself above your fellow humans, you generate intense negative energy. Your spiritual trajectory is pushed directly downward. By succeeding at this devilish ambition of becoming a superior person, you are literally sprinting toward hell. So, after seeing how this data scales, from a simple local village comparison through historical emperors and modern statistics, all the way up to cosmic spiritual ruin, we're left with this final, truly provocative question from Life Shiny One founder Shu Feng. Do you still want to strive to be a person above others? It's a profound challenge to everything we've been taught about ambition. I hope this explainer gave you a totally new perspective to think about. Keep questioning the status quo, and I'll catch you in the next one.